back to my channel. Yes, today is Thursday, and let's start with Cringe. Come on, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Hello, my name is Daniel. I'm your host. Here,
guy in the chair.
He said it.
And today was episode 7 of the Acolyte, and here in the Crocodile review on it. So let's enjoy. So enjoy.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber.
The power of 2.
You go and do something like this.
And totally prove me right.
Yes.
You know, watching The Acolyte is like some bizarre form of self-inflicted torture. Reaching the end of another episode is like waking up on my kitchen floor in a pool of my own bodily fluids after a 3-day bender, only to realize that it's not my kitchen floor when the real owners of the house discover me and just won't stop screaming. Not only is The Acolyte a laughably terrible piece of media that further tarnishes the reputation of a brand existing on life support at this point, not only does it squander hundreds of millions of dollars that could have been used to fund far more deserving projects, and not only is it one of the worst showcases of every amateur hour writing failure imaginable, but unlike the aforementioned 3-day bender that ends up on a kitchen floor, it doesn't even provide any enjoyment before the soul-crushing regret kicks in. It's just crap, plain and simple. Oh well, at least we've made it to the penultimate episode now. An episode which finally provides the answers that you already knew to questions that you never even wanted to ask. So let's get right into it, shall we? The episode once again finds us back on the planet of the communist lesbian space witches 16 years ago, this time retelling events from the Jedi perspective. And if you're expecting some big mind-blowing revelation that totally recontextualizes everything that happened in episode 3, then prepare for disappointment. Anyway, the episode picks up with Squid Game Guy and the others mooching around the planet scanning moss and things for like 7 weeks straight. Why? That's a very good question, and one which Token White Guy decides to ask around the campfire one evening, because of course we need to be reminded that he's a whiny little bitch that just wants to go home.
What if only I knew that what we were doing was somehow important or meaningful?
Wait, you've been here for almost 2 months and nobody told you why you're here or what you're looking for? What the hell have you even been scanning for all this time then? Also, this mission really feels like the kind of menial, time-consuming task that should have been assigned to probe droids or something, instead of an entire squad of Jedi. It's the Star Wars equivalent of sending a platoon of Navy SEALs in to clean up garbage from a local beach. I'm pretty sure they've got more important things to be doing. Anyway, it turns out that they're looking for a Vergence in the Force, which for some reason Token White Guy has never even heard of before. I mean, isn't this the kind of thing that you're supposed to be trained in? Were you off sick the day they taught Padawans about the Force?
Yes.
Nah, whatever. So Squid Game Guy gets tired of their shit and goes off by himself and immediately spots the terrible twins from the start of episode 3. Wow, lucky he happened to run into the only other people on the entire surface of the planet at this precise moment.
Well, isn't that convenient for you?
Then he follows them back to their gigantic mountain dam fortress village monastery thing and is totally shocked to find that people are living there. Fucking what, mate? This place has got all manner of electric lights, mechanical doors, scanners, and a power generator the size of my entire hometown. This really seems like the kind of thing that should have shown up in orbital scans of the planet way before now. Not to mention the fact that it's revealed to be a former mining facility, which should have been listed on Republic databases and probably would have been worth checking out just in case. And apart from all that, it's perched on top of a gigantic fucking mountain. You could probably see it from like 100 miles away. Why is any of this stuff a surprise to anyone? Jesus, we're like 5 minutes in and already the episode's gone completely off the rails. So Squid Game guy summons Trinity and the others, and he wants to go all in as a group because he's worried about the terrible twins or something. But Trinity's like, nah, that's a bad idea because a show of force right now might provoke an armed conflict. But he's like, aw, please. And she's like, okay then. Nice to see you sticking to your guns there, lady. Then strong female character number 4 gets into token white guy's head, and there's a really weird scene where it seems like she's trying to force herself on him while he cries about it. An older predator abusing their power to seduce an unwilling young victim while everyone else around them pretends not to notice? Write what you know, eh, Leslie? Anyway, eventually they get to test the terrible twins, and token white guy discovers that they're the virgins in the force that the group's been sent here to find. So he does the logical thing and immediately hops on a speeder bike to go abduct them from the mountain dam fortress village monastery thing. But oh no, strong female character number 5 decides to turn evil and tells strong female antagonist to get really angry and kill everyone, and so she does.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
I really don't think you've thought through the implications of this one, strong female character number 5. So there's a big tense standoff with strong female character number 4, who decides the best way to de-escalate this extremely tense situation is to turn into a lesbian space witch demon force ghost thing and try to vaporize strong female antagonist.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
So Squid Game guy shoves a lightsaber through her gut, and damn, what a turnaround, man. I mean, Sabine Wren got impaled on one of these bad boys and laughed it off the next day, but now they're able to destroy entities that don't even physically exist. Writing Star Wars shows is amazing when you don't have to care about anything that happened previously, even in your own show. But she's like, I was trying to let Osha go because I'm actually a good person, don't you know?
I think I can smell shite.
Really? Like, you didn't consider for 1 second that your terrifying transformation into a demon smoke monster might be misinterpreted? How did you expect the guy to react to something like that? Especially when you also tried to disintegrate a young girl that he'd specifically come here to rescue.
Yes, I can definitely smell shite.
Anyway, things soon get worse for Squid Game guy and token white guy when Jedi Wookiee shows up, but he's been possessed by the lesbian space witches. But that's okay, because then Trinity teleports in out of nowhere and forces them out of his Wookiee brain. That's a pretty interesting skill that she probably should have used when they did the same thing to token white guy earlier. But I guess because he's not a protected minority like the Wookiee, it doesn't really matter what happens to him.
Yes, yes.
Either way, all the lesbian space witches die suddenly because the script says so. So much for the power of many. And Squid Game guy and the others escape the planet with strong female protagonist, and then Trinity decides they should just lie about the whole thing and blame it all on strong female antagonists. And there you have it, boys and girls, the least unexpected revelation in Star Wars history. The Jedi are actually the bad guys of this story, because of course they are. Because the entire purpose of Disney Star Wars at this point is to trample and deconstruct everything that came before them. Just like Han Solo, just like Luke Skywalker, just like the New Republic and the very concept of the Force. It all has to make way for the new and improved Star Wars, rewritten and reconstructed for modern audiences. You know, it's actually quite impressive just how comprehensively they've managed to fail with this one. Every time I think this show has hit creative and logical bedrock, it somehow finds a way to sink even lower. Every single episode is a masterclass of stupidity, ignoring and contradicting not just the rules and lore of the Star Wars universe in general, but even its own story. As usual, character motivations and their entire worldviews can flip on a dime. People are instantly persuaded to do things they were adamantly against just seconds earlier. Characters teleport into scenes with zero explanation precisely when the script needs them to, and new powers and abilities are introduced with no justification or consideration of how they might break the fictional world they're part of. The episode doesn't even manage to implement its own hackneyed ideas properly. The whole concept of this episode is to retell past events from a different point of view, recontextualizing everything we saw and totally changing our perspective on what actually happens. A good 50% of this episode is just re-showing us the same cringe-inducing scenes that we already endured, only from a slightly different camera angle. The other 40% is bland, meaningless conversations between bored-looking actors who are almost certainly going to fire their agents after this, telling us things that we either already knew or didn't care about in the first place. And the remaining 10% is basically a conglomeration of the most contrived, ridiculous writing imaginable, designed purely to get us to an end result with no thought of how we actually get there. This whole storyline could easily have been condensed into a 3-minute flashback at the end of the previous episode, but just like everything else in The Acolyte, it's done purely to eat up screen time and spread a painfully thin story over 8 episodes instead of the 3 or 4 that it actually needs. But hey, who cares? The hypothetical audience this show is written for obviously don't, because they also don't exist. The writers certainly don't, because why should they? They're not interested in Star Wars or working within someone else's framework. All they care about is the story they want to tell, the ideas they want to push, the characters they want to elevate to godlike status. And if Disney were dumb enough to give them $180 million for a retarded fanfic project like this, then I've got no sympathy for them, and neither should you. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Hey guys, I hope y'all enjoyed that and heard it, what he had to say, and listened. Even though I think the show is just, the agenda is full of agenda. Disney's agenda. And Disney's turned everyone against. You turned her against me. You have done that yourself. And then now, Obi-Wan wasn't a bad guy. I still say this show is horrible. But I still watch it and everything for you all. But either way, I'm gonna keep doing what I do and you do what you do. And I'll see you in another video. Bye.